Hi everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview of this new liquid CPU cooler from Cooler Master. This is the Eisberg 240L Prestige. Let's start off with a closer look at the retail box. This being a liquid CPU cooler, this is a full loop, so you get the block/pump, the tubing which connects it to the radiator itself, and this being the 240L, it is a 2 by 120 millimeter radiator, so that gives you 240 millimeters total. It is also a pure copper radiator and water block, and that's what sets this apart from a lot of the other radiators that are out on the market. A lot of them use aluminum fins. Copper provides better heat dissipation and, generally speaking, better cooling overall. Also uses microchannel and jet stream technology in the block, and it is designed in Germany, hence the Eisberg sort of German-sounding name. Which is, I believe, the German word for iceberg. Here we have some more detailed specifications, such as the radiator dimensions, of course, also the fan speed, airflow, fan noise. Radiator and cold plate are both made of 100% copper, some fancy cold plate technology. The tubing is PVC, it is black, it has 5/16 inch inner diameter and 7/16 inch outer diameter, also has anti-kink coil protection, German designed axial rotor pump, 2.2 meter pump head pressure, also pump volume is 400 liters per hour, and then there's some more detailed specs about the radiator itself, including a 50,000 hour lifespan and the pump rotor speed. Flipping around here to this side, you will probably notice we have some more detailed layout of the actual dimensions of the unit. So I'm not going to go over all of these numbers individually, but you can probably tell size of the pump there as well as the size of the radiator if you need to double check that to make sure it will fit in your case. Flipping open the retail box, you will notice some packaging, of course. It's all in there just like that. Everything is protected with some plastic to make sure it stays nice and shiny during shipping. So you get a couple 120 millimeter fans, for example, baggie here with all of these screws and mounting hardware. And then you also get the Eisberg manual right here, which will sort of walk you through the included components as well as the installation procedure, which I'm also about to do in just a moment. Let me just get these accessories sorted. So here's all the contents of the retail box, unbagged for your viewing pleasure. Of course, we have the pump and block and radiator over here on your right. We'll finish with a closer look at that. You get two 120 millimeter fans from Cooler Master. Both of them ship with a spacer, a rubber spacer right here. So you can use that to put between the fan and whatever you're mounting it to reduce vibration and noise. Fans themselves are the more flat-bladed fans that are more optimized for static pressure, which is better for use with a radiator, of course. Here's a look at both sides. And then you get a braided cable with a 3-pin fan connector, which you can then plug into the fan header on your motherboard. Next to that, we have the user's manual, of course. We already took a quick look at that before. You get a little syringe of Cooler Master thermal compound, so you can use that on your CPU right before you install the block. You have two brackets here. This cooler is of course compatible with both AMD and Intel sockets. Now for Intel sockets, you're going to be using this bracket, which ends up making sort of a square, and that's for pretty much all Intel brackets, whether you're going back to 775, 1155, 1156, the upcoming 1150 of course, even 1366 and socket 2011. For AMD, AM2, AM3, AM3 Plus, FM1 and FM2 sockets, of course, you have this bracket right here. Either of these brackets just snaps on around the actual pump/block itself, and then you use that to mount it to your mounting points. Now your mounting points are going to come from your motherboard. If you're using AMD, you'll use these screws right here. If you're using Intel, you use these screws right here. Those are both going to just mount to the existing bracket for AMD that's there, or for Intel socket 2011, you'll use these. If you have any of the other Intel sockets, such as 1155, 1156, 1150, 775, or 1366, you're going to use these screws right here, and basically you have a couple of these little mounting points. You'll simply pop those through the mounting points on your motherboard. They've got some prongs that will hold them in place, and then you screw the threaded part right there onto it. That will help keep those expanded and in place, and that will also give you your 4 mounting points to fit on the actual bracket which you've installed to the block. I hope this is all making sense. Real quick, you also get a little extension cord right here for 3 pins, so you can use that if you need to plug your pump in somewhere else, or if you need a bit of extra cable length on either of your fans. Of course, once you have your 4 threaded rods set up on your motherboard itself, then you will simply use these little thumb screws. So you take the thumb screw, you get a spring that goes inside to make sure you have proper pressure, and then you get the rod, you put a little washer on the rod like so, and then you simply hand screw that down, and you want to make that nice and snug. And that's pretty much how the mounting system works. Lastly, we have some fan screws. These are over here on your left. Some longer throughs for threading through the fans and then connecting to the radiator, or if you're mounting the radiator directly to your case, you have these smaller screws as well, so you can use those instead, and then they are all going to tighten down with this Allen key. And now for a closer look at the pump and block, and just to show you guys how those little retaining brackets go on, I'm just going to snap this one into place like so. That holds it on. Here's the bracket for Intel sockets. Of course, the AMD one pops on just the same way. If I flip over to this side, you'll actually notice a little peekaboo window. So through there, you can actually see your pump. And once it's on, you'll be able to see it running along and moving its liquid through the tubes. Apart from that, flipping around to this side, we have the Cooler Master Iceberg logo right there on the top, so it should be nice and visible. Also bear in mind there's a fill port right here. Although you may notice some user serviceable parts in this unit, it's recommended to treat it as a closed loop unit unless you're really familiar with the ins and outs of water cooling configurations. It's best to leave this as is and not go through the trouble of opening up the fill port or anything like that. So bear that in mind, however it is there, in case you are interested. We also have the connection points here for the tubes. We have the power cable for the pump coming off right here. It's a little 3-pin connector, also nicely braided, so it should fit in with most systems, at least most systems that match with black, which just about everything does. Also down here, I should mention the fully copper cold plate. You'll notice the little warning label on there. That's just a piece of plastic that you will want to peel off before installation, of course. Now the tubing, as previously mentioned, right there, it has this coil of metal going around it, and that's simply to prevent kinks, so you can orient the pump and the radiator to your preference within your case and make sure that the tubing stays free of obstructions. And that, of course, makes contact with the radiator right down here at this end using a couple more of these really heavy-duty metal retention screws. And then down here, of course, is the radiator itself, and one of the other main selling points of this radiator is the fact that it is an actual copper radiator. So the differences there is that if you're comparing this to an aluminum radiator, you're going to notice it's quite a bit heavier. You might be able to see a little bit of the copper detail in there. It's painted black, of course, but you can, if you look at it from an angle, you can see a bit of the copper construction. And copper, of course, being a denser material, is going to provide much better heat dissipation, as well as transference from the liquid as it travels through the channels that you can see all along there. Of course, other than that, all black design from that. There's a look at it from the side. You got a little bit of a reservoir down at the end, and then around this side, you got the two little nubs that stick out, and that's where your tubing makes connection with the radiator. And that is going to wrap it up for this unboxing and overview of the Eisberg 240L Prestige by Cooler Master, featuring the 240mm all-copper radiator as well as copper water block. I'm Paul with Newegg TV, and if you enjoyed today's video, you can find more on our Newegg TV YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like this video if you found it useful. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.